Before we talk about the specific projects that we're going to be running and the things that we're doing, I think it was really important to discuss just how we're thinking about the year ahead as well. We certainly have changed the way that we're kind of approaching Origin Realms in order to reach the goals that we have set. And these are the four most important things that we're really, are driving the way that we're approaching the year ahead. So first of all, we are really, really thinking about through every facet of Origin Realms, through the lens of being multiplayer first. Anything that we create, any decision that we make, we're doing so now, trying to make it as multiplayer as possible. I think uh, the real beauty of Minecraft is playing it with other people, and I think Origin Realms can do a much better job at facilitating that. And I'm excited to be pushing more content this year that's going to really, foster those relationships between the community members and provide a great place to play together as opposed to just playing on your own or with a friend or two. The next thing that has been really really exciting over the last few months is our desire to make more data driven decisions. We have invested a lot over the last 3 months in setting up a platform for gathering analytics and statistics on what's happening across the server at any minute, any day. And that lets us really kind of visualize, um, you know, the output of what you're all doing. So when we go to make really important decisions when it comes to balancing or what kind of content we need to be focusing on, where the users are struggling the most, we can make those decisions informed by real data and they can be factual. Uh, Third, and something that is also really important to us, is just the first user experience. I think when creating a game like Origin Realms, um, it's really easy to get carried away with, what's the next big thing? Um, what are we going to add? But this year, we're putting a lot more energy into focusing on that first user experience because we have, you know, a really exciting amount of unique, brand new users joining Origin Realms every day. And I think that it's probably time that we, put some love into that area of the game to make sure that those new users are joining and, you know, have the highest chances of actually staying around and becoming, some of our pro users. And last is really just a larger investment in kind of growth and team development. Um, the Origin Realms team doesn't change much, and that's something that we're very proud of. We're not a team that has a high amount of turnover, um, but this year we're really investing in making sure that we have the right people to reach our goals, and the people that we do have on the team, we're doing everything that we can to really harness their strengths and make sure that they have everything they need to make the content that they want to make. So those are the four things that are super, super important to us and are kind of informing the way that we're thinking about everything that will come after this. So for 2024, and I think more so specifically for, the next 6 months, 9 months, we have really three core bets that we're, putting our focus towards. There's always things that come out, you know, month to month, week to week that we do events, we do quality of life pushes and stuff like that. But these are three kind of major investments that we're making over the next, over the remainder of the year that we think are incredibly important to reaching our goals. So I'm going to kind of reveal these one by one and share some details about them. First up is the Nether Overhaul. Um, this is an incredibly exciting thing to chat about because the Nether's been so untouched for so many years on Origin Realms. But I'm going to pass it off to Energize to uh, he's very excited to chat about.
All right, here we go. So yeah, we're officially reimagining the Nether, folks, and we're really excited to unveil the Nether and breathe new life into Minecraft's fiery dimension. Our plan is to give a tasteful spin on the Nether as we know it with new improvements, and of course, as you may have seen a little bit of, some new archaeology. And one of our first images here, you could see is a hand-built concept of the kind of level of improvement we plan to give the Nether in this initial update. Uh, in this image, you could see that there are new plants and new generated decorations like roots on the ceiling, updated crimson trees and fungal shelves along the walls. And the plan is that each biome in the Nether will have updated visuals to this level, making the Nether feel super fresh with new blocks and plants and all sorts of stuff to find. And of course, steering the ship for this update, we have Keo Furno, as you know, one of our talented artists that we just talked about recently, and who also might have a little obsession with the Nether. He's been designing all sorts of concepts that have been guiding us through this update, and it's been pretty essential in creating this new vision for the Nether. And here's an example here, and there's tons of concepts he's been making. And speaking of Keo, he's also been extremely busy with these archaeology assets. With a new regional update, this of course means new artifacts to discover through our archaeology system. You can look forward to all the structures in the Nether being fully revamped with new decorations to find. And with new decorations and blocks being added, I did want to note that it's a bit disappointing that bases can't be built in the Nether on Origin Realms. And to address this, after this update is already out, we'll be looking into a way to give players a piece of the Nether in their realms. This won't be part of the initial Nether update, but it will be in our top priority afterwards. So feel free to collect all the blocks and new decorations in preparation for that. And I think that wraps it up.
Awesome. Yeah, that's such an exciting update. It's one that we've been really pumped to get into for quite some time now. And you know, especially with Keo on board, it's never been a better time to finally give the Nether that kind of Origin Realms touch that it so desperately needs. Before we kind of talk about the second kind of focus area of 2024, I do want to mention that it's really important to us that we don't overpromise, and um, that's why you won't be kind of hearing any kind of ETAs, deadlines, you know, timelines for any of these projects, and as well as that, the ordering is also not. It's not sequential. So basically, the order that you hear about these things, 1 through 3, is not the order that they will be released, because I think that stuff changes so frequently depending on, you know, what's happening in real time, week to week. So it's important that you know, we just kind of set that expectation. But to get into more kind of exciting stuff, we're going to move into the second focus area, and that is a crate overhaul. So we're rethinking crates. It's something that has been a massive part of Origin Realms from the very beginning, for better or worse. It is the thing that allows us to expand. It's the thing that allows us to make larger investments in you know, building amazing content for the community. And I think because it's so crucial to what we're building, it's certainly time that it gets some love. So once again, I'm going to pass it back to Sammy, and he's going to share some information about you know, what is a very exciting update.
All right. So yeah, crates. We are introducing to overhaul them. We're introducing an in-game shop that is including virtual currency, new themed crates to reimagine your next uh, shopping spree. And this update is, well, it's more than a revamp. It's like completely a new, fresh way to discover and collect your favorite items. Um, and so crates have been a bit of a difficult spot on Origin Realms. They lack transparency to the player, they're a little inconvenient to buy, and the contents are a tad unpredictable, making it difficult for players to get what they want out of them. To address this, we're completely overhauling crates as you know them. Crates will now be purchased through an in-game store with in-game premium currency. This means you'll be able to buy a bundle of premium currency on the website and then simply click on whatever crates you want to buy in the game and whenever you want to buy them, and then they're in your hands immediately. And you'll be able, through this in-game store, you're also going to be able to preview the crates, items, and contents very easily from this menu, giving players more transparency than ever. Additionally, instead of crates being based on content type, for example, the Cosmo crate just containing all the cosmetics that we offer, they will now be based on theme, which you can see a bunch of examples on the screen already. Since it's organized according to theme, that means crates can now contain a combination of items according to its theme, like cosmetics, furniture, tool skins, gestures, and more. One example of these crates content is a new wizardry crate. Um, the idea is that some old items will now be moved into these themed crates. For example, the witch set of cosmetics will now be moved into this wizardry crate. But you can now see there will be a ton of new items added to this, including furniture items and new cosmetics as well. And this just means that we're able to now thoroughly explore new themes through crates. Previously, we were a little wary on adding new stuff to the cosmetic crate because every time we did, it became more and more unlikely for a player to get what they want out of it due to the so many items being in it. But now we can thoroughly explore each theme, and players can expect what to get out of each crate, which is really exciting. But not only are we overhauling the crates themselves, we're also overhauling the opening sequence. You can see here that the visuals have completely changed, and this is just a mock-up. Of course, you could see the UI. This was designed by Robo Pantaloons, our animator, um, and we're just trying to make the opening sequence extremely clean. And the idea is that the color of the lights that shoot out of the crate depends on the rarity of the items. And what's also very nice is that straight from the opening sequence, you'll be able to preview the items that you roll on, and you'll be able to see what they look like on you or on the ground as a furniture item. Just a lot more transparency through this system, and obtaining the items that you want will be easier than ever. So, yeah, very exciting stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, just to touch on that a little bit more. As Energized mentioned, crates are something that we've struggled with because I think whether you believe it or not, we are a team that genuinely cares about um, the essentially the experience that we're providing to people that are choosing to go out of their way to support Origin Realms. The support that we get from the community is what really allows us to create amazing things. Origin Realms simply wouldn't exist without crates, which is why they're so important. But if we're going to have crates, we want to do it right. We want to do it in a way where anyone that chooses to support Origin Realms and opens a crate feels like they've gotten their money's worth. We don't want people to feel like they're getting ripped off. We want it to be a fun experience. We want it to be, fleshed out with hundreds of different things to obtain. And I think luckily Origin Realms, with the technology that we've produced over the last few years, is probably in the best state out of any Minecraft server to actually have these things. I think we were one of the first Minecraft networks that really innovated in this area, and that allowed us to, actually, I guess, survive off of these cosmetic items that normally, for a Minecraft server to survive, it involves being pretty, you know, blunt and just selling things that shouldn't really be sold on a store. So we take it really seriously, and I'm very excited to see what you all think about this update, because it's really going to make this like a super fresh experience. I know there's going to be a lot of questions about this update, the changes to existing crates, um, you know exactly what is being impacted by the changes. So definitely keep that in mind when we get to the Q&A at the end if you want to ask anything. But we will also be kind of following up with a blog post over the next few days, summarizing this event and then going deeper into some of those questions that we weren't able to answer and providing more clarity on these updates. So just rest assured that we have thought this stuff through for hundreds of hours. There's been so much discussion about it, and the one thing that you can guarantee is that what we end up with at the end is going to be something that you're all going to be super super excited about. And always, we always make sure that whatever is purchasable from our store is also obtainable, through gameplay in one way or another. So that will always be the case, and we think that's a very important part of the experience as well for those people that, support us by being on Origin Realms, but can't necessarily support us, by buying things like crates with real money. So yeah, that's super, super exciting, and I'm very eager to share more about this over the next, over the coming months. Now, we've gone through the Nether and crates. Number three, and one that I'm incredibly excited to talk about myself, is towns. Towns has been a hot topic for years on Origin ROMs. It's been something that since the very beginning I've been incredibly excited to do, but the timing had to be right, and fortunately for you all, the timing is now. So, as I mentioned, towns is something that has, it's been on the top of our mind for literally years. Since the beginning of Origin realms, we always had it written in the vision that there would be regular realms and then towns. Realms are the places where you build your home, and, you know, set yourself up personally. But I think towns is where the real fun happens. Being able to, at the end of a hard day, jump on Origin Realms with your friends and create something incredible as a group is really, I think, where the magic lies with Origin Realms. And we're really, really excited to be finally diving into that. So, there's going to be a lot that we don't cover about towns, but this is really just meant to be a sneak peek right now. I think the core component of what pushed this update forward is just the realization of how important social is. Um, we we're making such a significant investment in the social aspect of the network over the course of the year, and once again making sure everything is multiplayer. If people are joining Origin Realms and not playing with their friends as a group, I think we're considering that a failure on our behalf. And Towns is going to be a massive component in unlocking that. So there's a few cool things that you can see on your screen here, and this is one of the primary reasons why we had to wait for Towns. We knew that in order to do this experience the way that it needs to be done and the way that you all deserve to enjoy it, it required some kind of technological upgrades. Now, I think as a network, I'm very proud of the fact that we have some of the best technology to exist. We've innovated in so many ways and done many things for the first time. And I think when you're thinking about a town that has, 20, 30 people in it, managing that is a massive concern. So we've put a lot of energy thinking about the the UI and UX experience of managing a town, uh, claiming regions, being able to control who can do what, who has ownership of what land, and being able to manage that. So you can see an in-game spoiler here of a custom editing experience. And I think this is really the thing that allowed towns to happen, because if you've played any server in the past that has these kind of land management and claiming systems, you'll know how painful it is to go to the corners and run commands. So on Origin Realms, when managing your town, you'll simply be able to go into a town edit mode of sorts, where you'll be able to fly around, manage these regions. You'll be completely separated from your survival gameplay, and it's going to make what could have been a really really painful system something that feels super intuitive and is super exciting to the players. Um, Another really exciting part of towns is that they will be 4 times the size of a a normal realm. We wanted to make sure that um, when building out an amazing kind of empire with your friends, that you had the space to do so. And that's always a concern when storing the amount of data that we store and making sure that it's viable to run, well on the network. But we've kind of unlocked that now, and we're really excited by the size that we've landed on because I think it's going to mean that people can create some really cool things. There's so many similarities between towns and realms. They're very much sister systems at this point. But towns will essentially be um, a a more granular and exciting version of realms in so many ways. You'll be able to have more control over who you know is part of your town. There'll be a wider range of roles to select between, um, and I think the big key differentiator between realms and towns is that towns, they aren't really perceived as being owned by a single person. The ownership of the land is really shared between those that are on the town, and we wanted to make sure that when we did this, the experience, when you get to be part of a town and you can join up and or you get recruited into being a part of a town, you really felt like you actually had land ownership of the part of that town that you kind of bought into or gained access to. Um, so we're putting a lot of energy into thinking about making that a safe experience for the users, so that you don't have to worry about um, having your land taken from you, and you really feel like you have control over the slice that you've kind of that is yours. So there's so many more cool things surrounding towns, like region management, being able to define certain regions that can only be accessed by certain people, town recruitment, um, you know, leveling systems, a lot of amazing stuff that we won't get into today. But just generally, I think this is a massive unlock for Origin Realms this year, and I think it's going to give everyone that has been playing Origin Realms for an extended period of time a chance to have a fresh start. That feeling of starting a fresh SMP with your friends. Um, and you know that's going to be very special. So this, when Towns does get released, I think it's going to breathe a massive amount of fresh life into both the community and the server as a whole. So yeah, once again, I think there's a lot to be desired there. You're going to have many questions, many things that you want to know. We're excited to dive into that more over the coming weeks and over the coming months as we kind of start dropping more spoilers and stuff for these updates. But that is officially our three kind of core areas of focus for at least the next 6 or so months of 2024. The Nether Overhaul, a massive you know rethinking of the crate system, and town realms. So I hope you're all excited about that. I hope we did. I hope we did it justice, and I hope you can see the amount of thought and energy and love that we've been putting into these three things. So yeah, moving on, we are now going to get into the next section of this event, and that is really the community Q&A side of it. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break, um, 5 minutes for people to kind of catch their breath before we get into questions and stuff. But before we do that, I'm going to pass it off to Josh, who is our newest team member on Origin Realms, and he's going to share a little bit about how this is going to work, and how you can actually get your questions in.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. So I'm sure after all that sort of exciting information you guys have gotten over the past 40 minutes or so, you have a lot of questions. So we kind of wanted to do a small Q&A section where you guys can, put in some questions for us to answer. You can upvote them and kind of share stuff that's top of mind. So we will only have time for 6 questions total, which means, kind of ensure your question is a really great one. And if someone has happened to already ask it, please upvote it instead of asking again, so we can kind of, get the best ones that's top of mind for everyone. So the instructions to actually put in questions is you can follow the link, which should be getting sent into the text chat for the Q&A. And then you can click ask question button. It'll be on the top right of sort of that page. And then you can just add in a little title, one sentence of what your question is, and then click submit. A little reminder as well that you will have to refresh the site to view questions that other people are rolling in, which means if you want to upload them, you will have to sort of refresh to see those coming in. So yeah, just to circle back, we only have time for 6 questions. I'm really excited to hear what you guys are wondering. So yeah, I'll pass it back to Ben, and we can take a little bit of a break.
Awesome, thanks, Josh. And once again, like I said, we want to make sure that these 6 questions that we pick, we get to really focus on them and you know, give them the kind of thoughtful response that they deserve. But we will be kind of going through all of the questions over the coming days and making sure that we get more of them covered in the blog post that we'll be dropping. You know, maybe later in you know, 2-3 days. So we're going to take the next 5 minutes to essentially give you all time to get in those questions. And while we do that, I figured we could chat a little bit about the exclusive furniture that you'll all be getting access to. So everyone that was part of that kind of snapshot of users earlier will be getting a Origin banner, which is I guess like an Origin Isles themed banner that they'll be able to place, you know, wherever you want. You'll be able to trade it, sell it, do whatever you want with it. And that is an exclusive item that no one else will ever, you know, be able to obtain. So that's really, really exciting. You can see a cool list of users on the side here. This is all of you, everyone that's getting the item today. You might even see your face pop up there. We are recording this, so maybe you'll be able to look back and see if you can spot yourself. But yeah, that is everyone who's going to be getting this item. I'm going to let this scroll through, and we're just going to take 5 minutes to kind of you know, grab a drink and you know, do whatever you need to do, and then we're going to get into the questions. We just want to make sure that we have enough time to actually, you know, receive those answers and kind of allow you all to vote on the ones that you agree with as well. We are getting reports that some people are actually getting the globe rug instead of the Origin banner. We are looking into this right now, so we'll make sure that everyone gets their Origin banner instead of that globe rug. We'll be fixing that up directly after this. Sorry about that, everyone. But you will absolutely get this this item. No worries. And it looks like we also may have crashed feature base. There are a lot of you that are asking questions right now. We may have just taken a service offline in the process. So that is unfortunately is out of our control. It looks like it might be kind of recovering. I appreciate all the questions that are coming through. But yeah, if you notice it's a little bit slow, that's just because of the amount of people that are kind of funneling through at the moment. And once again, we don't run that service, so we can't necessarily, you know, fix that in real time. Hopefully, it does recover. We are capturing some questions kind of as we speak, so we'll make sure we get some good ones in. We have officially scrolled through everyone that's getting the furniture item today. There's one more thing for us to cover before we get into answering the actual questions, and that is our giveaway winners. So as I move on to that next slide, you'll see the 3 winners for the Cosmo robe, and I'm excited to announce that those 3 people are, drum roll, Rom. Oh, nice, Rom. We got Rom07, a very well-known community member. Venetus Catus, I hope I said that right, and I'm not even going to try to say the third one, but congratulations to the 3 of you. Remember, these items are tradable, so you can choose to keep them for yourselves and rub it in everyone else's faces, or you can choose to maybe put it on the auction house. But congratulations. I can't even remember how many Cosmo robes are officially in the economy at this point, but there's very, very little of them. So you're one of few people. And that kind of wraps us up for our kind of free item giveaways and Cosmo robes. So now we're going to get into the actual questions, that you've been funneling in. We're picking the the questions with the most upvotes, just to make sure that we're covering the things that most people care about. Question number 1 from Emeraldiscu. Hope I said that right. Emerald said, I know you aren't working on the next blight biome right now, but has concept art been made yet? This is an interesting one. So blight biomes they're really a package deal. It's not just the biome, but it's also the creatures that come with it, and I think most importantly the boss at the heart of it, as well as the items that boss drops. We do have a very solidified plan for what the next blighted biomes and bosses will be, and we do have plenty of concept arts as well as some actual models, already made that we have experimented with over the course of the last year. Some date back to even multiple years ago. We have been thinking about this stuff for a long time, and we tend to do a lot of pre-planning when it comes to these larger areas of the network. So we are definitely aware of what the next blighted biome will be, and we don't know exactly when that will be, because there's so many things that we want to do and not enough hours in the day. But when it comes, I'm sure you'll be it will be better than the first one, and I'm sure you'll be in love with it. Great question. And moving on to the next one, we have It's Marco says, what happened with the pets? This is very interesting, and I'm glad you asked. Um, Pets has been another one of those things similar to towns that we've been speaking about since day one. And I know you're all very excited for pets. We are too. I think the thing that changed with pets over the years was just the way that we think about gameplay. I think it's really easy to get stuck in this trap of producing gameplay that is like super, has a lot of depth, and has to be really confusing, thinking back to the badges system, and we definitely changed the way that we were thinking about that kind of stuff. We wanted to make sure that when we get to pets, it's not overcomplicated. We want to make sure that the pet system blends nicely with what Mojang's already done, levels up the existing pets in the game, and really adds value to the players where you want it the most. We're at the moment unclear exactly how that manifests, but we are very excited for pets as well. And I think really we're trying to think through a way that we can make it happen sooner, because if people are more interested in just collecting pets and having a companion, and the visual side of it, pet cosmetics, and dressing up your pets and doing cool things with them, I think that's all very different to, like, trying to create the next Pokemon where every pet has 1,000 abilities and stuff like that, and that's the stuff that takes a lot of time. So uh, we are very excited for pets. We don't think it's takes priority over the things that we're working on right now. We did think through the sequencing quite a lot, but especially once Towns is out and we've built up this kind of social layer and multiplayer layer of the network that has been missing, I think that's when pets can really shine. So the sequencing of the updates is incredibly important. But you know, pets will happen one day. I know it's been a long time, but it'll be worth the wait when it happens. Thanks for the question, Marco. Next up, we have Master Warrior says, will you be able to earn the crate currency for free, or will you need to pay for it? This is a really interesting one that we had a lot of internal conversation about as well. So specifically for the new virtual currency that was mentioned, being able to buy this currency directly from the store and then use that currency in game to purchase things like crates, that will still be exclusively purchased with real money through the store. It gets really, really dangerous as a game when you kind of cross that line and mix those two worlds together. Things like jute bugs and all of that stuff become a lot more concerning and incredibly serious because you know, at that point it's really the server's um, you know, lifespan that we're messing with. You know, it would be very catastrophic if something went wrong and people were duplicating what is the equivalent to, you know, US dollars. So you won't be able to get this currency for free, but there will be other methods. There will be free methods of getting the actual output. So the thing that you're spending the currency on, you'll be able to get those crates, you know, through free-to-play means, as well as you know, through the auction house as well. So it was something that we considered seriously, but we also did a lot of research into other games that tried this, and typically they all failed. It's generally not a great move, and we kind of had the privilege of learning from the best there. Thanks for that question. Another great one. Next up, we have, I don't want to even try to say that one as well, but they said, are there going to be any more updates than the ones you showed on the stream in 2024? Or are these just the most important updates that are going to come in the future? So these are the three things that we are working. These are our big bets that we're working on right now. Essentially, there's not going to be other big bets that are going to kind of like work their way in, but we do generally try to mix in smaller updates, internal things for the team to produce content quicker, quality of life things. And as I mentioned earlier, we're still putting a lot of energy and investment this year towards improving that first user experience as well. So there's a lot that will be changing with Origin Realms. It's not like nothing's going to be happening. We'll still be doing our seasonal events, which people love. I mean, people just beg us for these seasonal events. Like that's a big part of what Origin Realms is at this point. You'll get that kind of stuff. You'll get that quality of life stuff as well as just smaller updates. But these are just those massive bets that we're working on. And it's definitely not all we have in store for 2024. But I think it's important to keep our eyes in front of us and not, you know, over promise and under deliver. These are the things that we are, you know, really, really confident in. So thank you for the question. Next one. Mythic Dragon says, when will Jules come out? This is interesting. Once again, one of our biggest issues is the fact that we're a team that is certainly not lacking great ideas and things that we want to do. When there's always a million things on the list, it's really hard to prioritize these things. And what we started to do a lot more over the past year was just do the things that the wider audience are really asking for. So Jules is an interesting one because it's actually a pretty small subset of Origin Realms. I think the majority of Origin Realms are both like social and adventure style players. We don't have a massive PvP or combat community because we are inherently more of a PvE style game. So Jules isn't necessarily a focus, but if at any point it feels like the thing that the community wants the most, you know, that's where we want to put our time. You know, we've had enough years of making intuition-based decisions and just doing what we think is best. Moving forward, we're really trying to just listen to what you all want and do that based on the data that we now have available. So it isn't planned at the moment, so I couldn't even give a timeline. But what I will say is that the timelines constantly change. Esper Sparks says, regarding crates we have in our realm, what will happen to them? Be it decoration or just players who like to hoard crates or use them as building blocks themselves. What will happen to them? Will those event and default crates vanish? I'm assuming this is meaning the balloon crates. So there's a distinction between our kind of key crates that you purchase from the store, and then the crates that are dropped from balloons. So we're not actually touching the balloon crates at all. They'll remain as is. We're only touching the crates that are opened with keys. So the ones that you have in your realms will be completely untouched and very safe. No need to worry about that.
But what does happen
Another great
to
question.
what happens to, legacy crate keys then?
I mean, we can definitely touch on that. I think it's an interesting time to talk about that, because I think this question could probably be perceived in both ways. But yeah, so legacy crates is very interesting. We have not only Cosmo crates, gesture crates, but we have all these event crates as well that people do collect over time and kind of keep the keys for later. So we've had a lot of discussion around it, and we think it's really important to keep a legacy system for them. So any keys that you have existing right now will also remain exactly as is. We didn't feel like it was fair to alter the loot tables or the contents of a crate key after the fact, especially if it's something that you've paid money for. If you've purchased a lunar crate key, you certainly don't expect to, months down the line, have the contents of that adjusted and the rarities adjusted on you without, you kind of having a say in it. So any keys that do exist, you'll be able to open through some kind of legacy means, and you'll be able to basically get the same items that you would have in the past without them being kind of migrated to this new system of smaller bundled themed crates. So hopefully that answers both of those questions. Thank you, Esper Sparks. And that is a wrap. Once again, we really appreciate all the questions. We know we weren't able to get through all of them. We are over our kind of hour timeline here, so we're going to wrap it up. We wanted to make sure we kind of ran a tight ship this year. I hope you all really enjoyed the presentation this time. Normally we don't do these presentations. I think it really helps keep it visual, keep it fun, keep it exciting. And once again, thank you everyone for attending. It's been really great chatting about the stuff that we have in flight, and be sure to keep an eye on the blog post that's going to be dropping over the next few days to answer some more of those questions. I hope you're super excited. But before we wrap up, this is the last you'll hear from me. We're going to be jumping out and getting back to work. Although there is one more thing. Have an amazing weekend, everyone. This is seriously going to be the most exciting year for Origin Realms. We are so proud of the things that we're working on at the moment, and yeah, we hope you're excited about that news. More to come soon. Thanks for attending. Have a great weekend, and we'll chat to you all soon.